Happy Friday, my sweet honey drops. It's been a rough one, hasn't it? Well, thank you. I hope you guys enjoyed that musical rendition. That is the music that I've been, hyping up and getting so ready for. DJ Zydrate made that for me. And I'm so happy because that was 2 minutes and 14 seconds when I only asked for 30 to 45 seconds. But he delivered. And yes, that was a very fun rendition of the Teddy Bear's Picnic. Because why not? Howdy, 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 everyone in the chat. You were dancing to the music? Don't worry, it'll come back at the end. I'm thinking for some of my videos that aren't the audios that I will have that playing at the end. That'll be my little outro for things like the character interpretations that are too long to go as a short. Now I just need to put together an end card. Haven't quite figured that one out yet, but now that I finally have my character reference sheet, I can start getting some art of my OC. And yes, I have finally started the project for getting my new VTuber model in. I just submitted. I just spoke with an artist on VGen earlier today. Got the proposal, agreed to it, and paid. The only downside is it's going to take like 2 months, is what he said. Is what he told me. That's fair if you can't do any dancing right now, Carmen. You can just kind of sway to the beat, nod your head, whatever you can do. The bacon craves Dr. Pepper while watching stream! Afraid no Dr. Pepper here, just Diet Coke. And yes, I know, very blasphemous of me to say, but I don't care. Gotta lower my scarf. You can't see me talking. There we go. Haha, much better. Now I'm not all, bundled up to my chin. I chickened out at the last second to dual stream. But I did see you subscribe to me on Twitch. Yeah, I'm trying to branch out. But yeah, I did mean to dual stream and I chickened out, and I don't know if I can start that without shutting down this stream. And K2, to answer your question, I have stayed safe in this weather. I mentioned it to some people, but so I am going to keep this a bit vague for privacy's sake, because this involves some people that haven't consented to being mentioned. But the snowstorm ended up canceling certain plans, which had a domino effect. Like you may remember last week I was talking about finally hooking up with my trans femme crush. That had to get canceled. Thankfully it's being rescheduled, but god damn it, I was very upset with that. And because of the domino effect, I had to go driving on the highway on Sunday. Now technically it was at the very beginning of the storm, and I was driving smart. Everyone on the road was 45 to 55 miles an hour. I had 10 car lengths between me and the person in front of me. I saw brake lights, so I tapped on my brakes, and the snow did not like that. I started swerving. I lost control for 3 seconds. That was absolutely terrifying. Thankfully, I did not hit any cars, and while I started aiming myself for the center median, because hitting snow is a lot better than hitting cars, it did not come to that. Thank goodness. And I was a little validated 30 seconds later when 4 or 5 cars did the exact same thing and got to the center median. So yeah, bit scary. But afterwards, I was home and I stayed indoors for the next 2 days. But yeah, it is bitter cold out there. Bitter. If you understand freedom units, it is this week, the high has mostly been around 20, with the low, let's see, it got down to -6. Who the hell is at my door? And if you are across the pond, that is -6 to -16 Celsius. It's been very cold. Ice wasn't bad at all. We were just fine. Ice down in Texas was supposed to happen. Wasn't that bad. Very good, very good. I do know of, places more down south you're not as equipped. Okay, I'm seeing paws at my door. One moment. Come on in. Alright, confirmed. Savini is now here. So he will most likely show up once I get the hand cam going. People did panic buy a lot of stuff. They always do. They always do. That's why as soon as you hear about it, that's when you get yourself the extra gallon of milk, the extra loaves of bread, all that fun stuff. Ice making people Tokyo drift? Yeah, pretty much. Shouldn't be listening while driving. You keep saying wild stuff. Yeah, you gotta temper yourself that way. The low for us over here was 6 degrees Fahrenheit. Yeah, that's pretty much what it was for here. Okay, what do you have? Is that a puffball? What are you doing? Okay. Well, I suppose I should get the hand cam on so I can start doing this, and for when he inevitably gets in my lap or just crawls across my desk, you can see Savini. All the dairy was gone? Of course. I joke that during these things, people just get hyped up and ready for having French toast for the next couple of days. Alright, and here we go. Alright, it is a bit blurry. I can't quite get the camera to focus, but hi! This is my hand. And this is my hand warmer, alpaca wool. Yeah, I've been trying to get the camera to focus. I've not been very successful. How's the Discord treating you? Scheduling collabs? Not really. I haven't been as involved as I probably should, and I've gotten more involved in my own Discord server. Yeah, hand reveal. I even made sure to wash my fingernails. Expecting bear claws. You see, that's fair, but then you don't have the dexterity for a needle. Like, come on, this is a tiny thing. Savini, are you trying to go back out? You want to say hi to the nice people first? Savini, psst, 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 psst. Come over here. Oh, good boy. You want to get in my lap? You want to get in my lap? Come on. I know you like the lap. Oh. Ooh. Big boy, big boy. See, these are the paws you're expecting. All right. Ooh. Ooh, Yes, that is my hand can setup. If you dox me, I swear to God, cat. There's Savini. There he goes. Bye-bye. I see the video of the dude that bought something like 20 gallons of milk. What the hell? 20 gallons? The fuck was he expecting? You see, like, panic buying and hoarding of certain objects, I understand. Like toilet paper, that makes all the sense. But perishables, I don't quite understand. However, I did see one thing. Do you remember hearing a bunch of panic buying and bulking of eggs? I think when the bird flu came through. And it was actually brought to my attention that it wasn't really for personal use. It was like restaurants. Restaurants were just having employees go out and buy the eggs for them. So yeah. Again, I'm sorry, it's not going to be very clear. I don't. This is just a regular plain. You see, Exelon webcam. So if it gets too blurry, just focus on my avatar, because that's going to remain in focus the whole time. Are you trying to go back outside, Savini? Okay. I know that squeak. Oh, bye-bye. Yeah, he doesn't meow when he wants to go in and out of a door. He squeaks. Why, thank you. He is very cute. Savini is a very cute cat. Troublesome. And he gets the zoomy something awful in the morning. But he is very sweet. So, yeah, I just have... Let's see, what material is this again? I've had this one a while. I, literally had to wash it. Maybe Savini is camera shy? Maybe. Although I've taken plenty of photos and video of him in the past, since I got him. He's not even a year old. He's, how old is he now? I think he's gonna, if I remember the calculations, he's gonna be 1 year old in May. So you guys can do the math on that. I am not braining math right now. I need to keep this under the camera. I have to remember to do that. I'm so used to holding it very close to my chest. But no, I can't be doing that. I have to remain it under the camera so you guys can enjoy a little bit of sewing. What am I sewing? I am sewing little teddy bears. It's something I haven't done in a while. Let me show you the pieces. Like this. This is a little leg. So I've got 2 little legs. I like to do those first because they're kind of annoying. We got the bottom of the foot paws. Oh yeah, this is actually a good way to put it down. This is part of the head. This is going to be like the brow and the top of the head. Here's the head itself. Again, I don't know, maybe in a couple of months or something, I'll get an upgraded camera where I can actually adjust the focus myself. We got the body piece. It's got a big old round belly. Outside of the arm. Inner arm with paw already pinned. And the ears. Ms. Hyde was also expecting bear claws and she laughed when you just died. Yeah, every time I move away from the camera, the model freaks out and just... So I have 2 bears cut out in this size, and I also have a larger one set aside. I don't actually think I'll get through all of those tonight, but it's good to just have them, at the ready. So yeah, just trying to do something a little more chill, a little more calm. Although I have to say, the past couple of streams, the level of chatting there has also been pretty nice. Very, very calm. Plus, sewing for me is very meditative. It's just one action over and over and over. And I really like sewing teddy bears and plushies. I've made a bunch of characters, mostly anime based. Like a number of years ago when it was very popular, I made Italy from Hetalia. The one image of him waving the white flag. Let's see. He goes like, Italia Damashi! So I literally just had a frantic little Italy holding and waving a white flag. And I just made that myself. It was all out of felt, though. So not the highest of quality, but felt is a very forgiving beginner's material. Cheap as hell, too, so if you mess up, it's not that catastrophic. Although I am capable of sewing other things, mostly repair type stuff like buttons, busted seams. Like the other day, I helped my metamor, i.e., NP's girlfriend, sweet lady, I like her. She had this favorite pair of pants that just split right up the seat, but because it was right next to the seam, as opposed to like just a regular hole, I was able to fix it. So it's gonna last for a few more years. And if any of you are wondering what it is I'm doing, so I had the heel and I went up to here, and I can't go all the way around because I need to have an opening up here in which I do the stuffing, because I have to stitch up the rest of the foot. So it works best if I just do it one way and then stop. And yes, I am holding the needle in my mouth right now. Weren't some of you guys supposed to distract me so I wouldn't finish all the bears? A game trailer for 1984? Did it at least look like it respected the source material? Because, like, there's also that trailer for Animal Farm that just gave me a fucking aneurysm. Mouth is a legal third hand. Yes. Yes, it is. Am I making these for myself? I have no idea what I'm going to do with these. Maybe I'll keep some. Although I am also kind of entertaining the idea of either turning these into a giveaway or, I don't know, sell them on Ko-Fi or something. Kind of blitzed past us before we could start that. To be fair, a cat distracted me. And I know, like, everyone loves seeing a streamer's pets. I understand the demographic. So while Savini was in the room, I had to make sure y'all could see him. Animal Farm movie makes me extremely upset. Yes, I know. It's just, tell me you haven't read the book without telling me you haven't read the book. Just, ugh. Although I did hear, who is it? Angel Studios, Angel Productions, whatever it's called, that's making the movie. They are a conservative Mormon studio, which should definitely tell you a lot. So just skip that and just watch the the CIA-funded cartoon of it. Ooh, maybe I should have a showing of that on my Discord at some point. Hey Teddy, what's a good way to learn to sew? I've got a few things I've been wanting to repair but do not have experience in sewing. Congratulations, that's going to be distracting for me. I don't know what we're talking about. It's your first stream. Welcome to the stream. So, I guess the first lesson should be about threading the needle. I am going to get to that at some point because, you know, this ain't going to last forever. But the way I would recommend it is you just take your spool, take your thread, and pull it your arm's length. And then you're good. Like, I can't do this without actually demonstrating it. I only take up the needle for some repairs. When I do, it takes me way longer than it should and never looks nice. But it always holds, so there's that. That's the important part. You want it to hold. You can... Getting it strong is important. Afterwards, you can learn how to make it look nice. But I'm doing a pretty basic stitch. You just go in, out, in, out, in, out. But there's also like the over stitch in which I would go through here. And then after pulling, I would bring it back. I actually have this little thing that I was continuing a bit while I was, killing time, in which you can see that the stitches roll over it. Because for this one, I'm not turning it. Turning it is when you put it inside out. That way you don't have these seams. But this is going to be stylized. So once I'm done stitching it, I'm going to stuff it and sew it shut without doing anything else. Are there different needle sizes? The thread never seems to fit when I'm trying to get... There are different needle sizes. It's especially dependent on what you are sewing. Actually, wait a second. My model's about to freak out again, so... Yeah. There they are. Yeah. God, those eyes! Those eyes, they look into your soul. God damn. God damn. Alright, so, like... You also have these motherfuckers. Look at these. Look at these. Literally long as my finger. And the eye of the needle right there. Yeah, you're absolutely getting it in. Oh, God. If memory serves, these are more like leather needles. I don't know. I pretty much just grab whatever I have on hand and make it work. I'm not a very good seamstress in that I just kind of do whatever the fuck I want. But I'm capable. No, that's not supposed to be there. I also made brown butter toffee chocolate chip cookies. Ooh. Supposed to chill the dough, but I baked some before doing that since I'm testing something. Always good to experiment. If I'm too impatient for chilling, I just put it right in the freezer and have the time. Is the eye of the needle the sharp part, or is that the part where you thread the needle? The eye is where you thread it. So that's the hole. What kind of needles would you suggest for a stuffed animal? It depends on the material you're using. Like like this. Oh God. I'm still blanking because this isn't felt. It's softer than that. Like for this, I have a pretty small and thin needle. Just because it works. I could probably do a needle that's bigger, thicker. Sorry, braining. But this is just what I happen to have on hand. I've broken too many needles. Especially with my sewing machine. So a year or two ago, I made a giant squid out of vinyl. Because I've also made giant squids out of felt. And I free-handed that. Meaning there was no pattern. I just went at it. I outlined it in chalk and with pins. And in the end, it was like 6 feet, not including the tentacles. And no, I'm not bringing that up on camera because it is a monstrosity. Normally when I add the toffee to the dough and bake it, it kind of melts and makes the cookies oily and stuff, so I assume I'm undercooking the toffee. Problem is I don't have a candy thermometer. So if it's too oily, maybe put in less butter. Try doing that, or increasing the flour. So, in my experience, chilling the dough of a cookie just keeps it from spreading out too far. But if oiliness is the problem, then you just have too much oil or not enough flour to absorb that oil. Still remember one time in which I bought, I think it was Pillsbury, ready or Nestle, uh, ready-made dough, ready-made cookie dough. So you just break it apart and put it in the oven. But in a couple minutes, like I smelled it burning, and the bottom was just completely black, but the top was undercooked. I'd never seen that happen before. My guess is that that particular batch just had too much sugar, and that's why the bottom burned without the top fully cooking. So I could only eat the top of the cookies. The bottoms were just unsalvageable. I just got my ass licked at the gym. Excuse you. And I need some serious aftercare. Any recommendations for dinner? You meant kicked. And here I thought you just had a really fun time in the locker room. Well, let's see. After a workout, it should be an increase of protein, right? It's like carbs before working out, protein after. So definitely something with meat. I don't know. I have a really good meatloaf recipe. I've done pretty well with that. Although for some reason, the original recipe said to use saltine crackers, to help give it a bit of body. No. Ritz crackers. Then you have that extra butteriness. Yeah, too much oil sounds about right, which is why I figure I end up undercooking the toffee since, again, I don't have a candy thermometer, so I can't know when to precisely stop cooking the toffee. Yeah, you might just want to invest in that. Alrighty, so now that both sides have been stitched, we can take out the pins, because now they're not going to move around. I made sure to do the tracing and cutting of the pieces because I hate doing that. I hate getting the pattern and tracing and cutting it out. It's so tedious, especially because I have to visualize and math out how to get the most material used with the least amount of waste. I recently watched Ridley Scott's Black Hawk Down extended cut, and it was pretty good. I don't know much about the actual story behind it, but hopefully it's accurate. I've never seen Black Hawk Down, and honestly, I'm kind of sick of military propaganda films. I think the last one I watched was American Sniper. But that's mainly because NP used to be in the military. So for me, it's interesting seeing those movies with him because then I get to know about the accuracy. But no, American Sniper was just so blatantly propaganda instead of simply being a biopic that, no. Although I have to say, taking NP to see Overlord, which was that World War II horror movie, he almost lost it. There was so much wrong with it. I think he said, what was it, a submachine gun or an actual machine gun? That was properly depicted. Let's see. Because I know Ridley Scott has a reputation of not giving a shit when it comes to accuracy, when it comes to real life stories. Napoleon is a perfect example of that. Yeah, some of those movies you do have to accept that they're going to do embellishments for the sake of drama. It just comes down to how much bullshit you're willing to take for the sake of a story. Bad news, the stuffed animal is old enough that the tag no longer has ink on it. That's a shame. I think if you just get like a standard needle, it should work just fine. Hit up, I was about to say Joann's, but that's out of business now. Hit up a Michael's. That's pretty much where all of the... Michael's is pretty much what absorbed Joann's. I'd love to invest in a candy thermometer, but I don't have a job right now. Yeah, that's a bit of a deterrent. Been looking, but no dice currently, so I kind of just gotta eyeball it. That's fair. If it helps, like, I don't make a lot of money either, so one of the things I do is I donate plasma on the regular. So I have the little port. I literally call it my blood money. But it paid for a very wonderful Christmas present that I just cashed in earlier this week. Finally got a professional massage done. Oh my god, that was so good. I slipped into subspace so hard. Grew up watching MASH. My humor is about as dry wit that is fast. It's been forever since I watched MASH. I used to watch it with my family while we were eating dinner. Like, we just had a very small TV on top of the fridge in the kitchen, and that's what we would watch during dinner. American Sniper actually is something I can't watch because of how bad it is on the propaganda level. Also, I really don't like Wahlberg. That's fair. It's funny when people were talking about how bad The Baby was, since they just used a doll. I don't think it clicked when I first watched that movie that it was a doll. Just, I was not paying attention to that. I'm trying to remember if I've... Blood Money is a neat name. Well, it's more of a concept, so... But yeah, I generally go twice a week. And I average about $100 a week doing that. Although how much they pay out fluctuates through the year. Like, there have been some weeks where I'll make like 120, but currently I'm making about 90. But hey, even if I'm not getting too much, it's still something, and it benefits the medical field, which is always a plus. Hello, Laughingstock. Welcome to the Teddy stream. The Teddy stream. Maybe that's what I should call these. I just type out Teddy with a like Teddy squared. I do want to donate if I'm able. At least it'd be something. You definitely have to make sure that your iron and protein levels are good. And make sure to drink a lot of water before you go. And eat. Eat within at least 3 hours. Because I've had some bad reactions if I don't eat soon enough. So that by the time I get home, I'm really nauseous and I can't stand up for too long. And I've been doing this for about 2 years now. And only once did I throw up on premise. So, yeah, sometimes you just have a bad time. Black Hawk Down was pretty enjoyable. I can definitely say it's one of the many best war movies. I'm really happy they didn't portray the soldiers as cowardly crybabies. Fucking hate Steven Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan because of that bullshit. I find it very unbelievable to have soldiers cry out for the mothers as they're dying. Dude, no. That's well documented. Not just with the American military, but every military on the planet. that dying soldiers will cry out for their mothers, especially as, they're suffering and dying. Like, that's accurate. That is incredibly accurate. My favorite was Hacksaw Ridge. That's also not one I've seen. As I've said, I'm not huge into war movies. What was that? Although I do like, let's see. Oh my god, I'm blanking on the names. Full Metal Jacket, because that's a classic. Apocalypse Now. And what's the other one I'm thinking of? Is it Commando? It's the Vietnam War one, and it's got Willem Dafoe getting shot down as he's like has his arms out in almost a Christ-like pose. That one is very interesting in that it's the first war movie that was directed by someone that fought in that war. So that's very interesting. I was gonna say maybe I'm just a pussy ass zoomer, but that sounds like it makes sense to me. Yeah. It's like it's a myth. The whole nobility of being a soldier, of fighting in a war. I mean, there's documented cases from World War I of shell shock, which later became known as PTSD. And there are audio recreations of drum fire, which was the constant barrage of munitions during World War I. And it's really hard to fully understand it because even playing it in my headphones, it's not the same. I can control it. But just trying to picture that constant cacophony it's wild. Tropic Thunder? No, it's definitely not Tropic Thunder. I'm gonna take a quick second. How's the teddy bear coming along? Well, I just have this leg so far. Alright, it's definitely not Commando. That's a Schwarzenegger movie. Vietnam. Willem Dafoe movie. Yep. Platoon. That's it. Platoon. Platoon is the one where the director fought in Vietnam. And that's why that has the significant honor of being the first war movie directed by someone who fought in that war. Which is, it just shows that he's going to have the direct perspective. Just find it kind of disrespectful to portray soldiers like that. I'm going to hard disagree. Because that is the reality. And there are a number of soldiers that will tell you that it's not the glory that it gets portrayed as. Not to mention, like, almost every person who is in the military that I know of can't stand fireworks. It triggers PTSD, which is incredibly ironic since, we celebrate the 4th of July with fireworks, thereby terrorizing the people that we are supposed to, respect and honor. So no, if you think that portraying soldiers in that way is disrespectful, it feels like you buy in too much of the propaganda. And I'm sorry if that comes off as harsh. That's the best wording I can think of. Let's see. War is cruel, brutal, and doesn't discriminate. Everyone involved suffers. Yes. What's the difference between hell and war? In hell, there are no innocents. In war, innocents get involved all the time. Let's see. Yeah, I would, like, the 3 war movies I mentioned, I would recommend. Because I find they are very good as movies. Find it really funny we're talking about war movies and Jackie's PFP is the major from Helsing. Gentlemen, I like war. No. Friends, I love war. I love holocausts. I love blitzkriegs. I love defensive lines. I love sieges, charges. I love mop-up operations and retreats. Not bad for pure memory. And now we have the first piece. We have a leg with the foot. And then we put it aside for now. And on to the next leg. War. War never changes. Third time's the charm. No, I don't want to be involved in World War III. Yeah, no, fuck that shit. Who was it? Einstein, who said, I don't know what weapons will be used in World War III, but World War IV will involve sticks and spears. Or rocks and spears. Sticks and rocks. Something like that. Thing about soldiers hating fireworks because it triggers their PTSD, that reminds me of an indie mascot horror game where the twist was exactly that. Ooh, interesting. Here we go again. I can't help it. It's a good speech. And I do have a recording of me doing 3 versions of that. The subtitle / manga version, the dub, and the Helsing Ultimate Abridged, because why the hell not? I love Team 4 Star. I love their work. And I kind of look up to Lanny Pator in terms of voice acting, because good God, he's a juggernaut. Like, he just puts his everything into each role, and that's incredibly admirable. Yes, no one is immune to propaganda, including me. That's why you have to be extra careful about the media you consume, either consciously or unconsciously. You are never so smart that you will never be fooled or manipulated. A couple of years ago, I got scammed. And thankfully, nothing actually was taken. But it was a very close call. I thought that I was getting a job interview. And, you know, it went through the process. You know, trying to, like, little interview testing. And I was desperate for a job. So, you know, I wanted to believe that it was legitimate. And some alarm bells were going off, but little ones. So I thought I was brushing them off, thinking, oh, maybe this is a new format that I'm just not familiar with. And what should have tipped me off was when they told me that they would give me money to buy the equipment from their own supplier. That was bullshit. So if you hear something like that, drop it, run away. learn from my mistake, because that I was very embarrassed and ashamed. And what they had me do is take a picture of the check that they emailed me and I printed out. It's supposed to, do the camera, scan it to your bank. And if you do that, that's going to give them access to your account. And thankfully, my bank knew about that kind of scam, flagged it, stopped it. Of course, then I had to, be on the phone with the bank and, discuss the attempted fraud. And then they dropped me. They just closed my account, gave me the money from my account, and was like, yeah, you're too much of a risk. It's like, motherfucker, you stopped it. It's just the one. And now I know to watch out for that scam. It felt very unfair, but I just moved to a different bank. But still, like I said, very embarrassing moment in my life. So that is what hit it home for me, that you are never too smart, that you will never be scammed or manipulated. You have to listen to those little alarm bells in your head. You have to know when to step back and reevaluate the situation. Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, formerly known as Spooky's House of Jump Scares. I remember that. I tried playing it, but I was a bit of a chicken shit. I think if I tried it again with other people around, I'd be braver. Because when there's others, I can gather up the courage to be brave. And that includes, real life, haunted house attractions. Even though I've never been to Spooky World. That's been on my list for a while. It's just, I need other people to go with me so we can, get strength from one another. Still wasn't really a big fan of Spielberg's Saving Private Ryan. Did find the beach scene, but everything else was just extremely forgettable and slow. Fair. Yeah, the Normandy beach scene is very harrowing. I remember when it first came out, and there were reports of World War II veterans just had to leave the screen because it was so accurate that they mentally found themselves back there and they couldn't deal with it. Scamming people looking for a job, that's slow. Yeah. It's incredibly frustrating. Just, especially with the job market as it is. And it's hard enough to find a job, especially with the ghost jobs and ghost listings where companies just make it look like they have openings when they don't in order to, appear a certain way. Just, ugh. Where's my drink? Possibly Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion stream one day? Sure, why not? That's a bit too long. Some years ago, I was in a bad spot in regards to propaganda and was getting worse. I was in a not-so-great group, and I didn't help in it either. It was hard, but I did leave them, thankfully. That's good. That's good. It is rough. It is absolutely rough, especially in this day and age. I can't remember. I think it was a post on Tumblr's where I read it, where someone was not quite predicting, but kind of analyzing, saying that our society, and at the very least, I'm speaking of American society. I'm not speaking of the world at large, because no, we are primed for another boom of cults and cult activities, like the 70s, because we Americans don't have much in terms of community. And that's how cults get you, is by taking people in at their lowest points, showing them love and brotherhood and support. And that's how they get sucked in. Just cooked up a whole pack of bacon and boiled potatoes in the fat. Ooh, damn. That certainly sounds like a something. Not gonna lie though, I'm not a big fan of bacon. I find it too salty and just, I don't know, I'm just not a fan. So you can imagine when the bacon boom of the early 2010s was going on, I was just, what the absolute fuck. At that time, I worked at a microbrewery. Before the term microbrewery was really a thing, it was just a brewery restaurant. And for a couple times, they would have this periodically because they couldn't have it constantly. Bacon beer. And the days where they had it, which was also like broadly advertised because it would sell out in like a day or two, they would offer chocolate covered bacon. Jeez, the bacon fad was ridiculous. Especially, let's see, what was it, like bacon chapstick? Fucking wild, man. Been looking for a job for over a year and a half now. Yeah. Making me hungry with the word bacon. The bacon boom. People cook it wrong. Turkey bacon and beef bacon. That's fair. People cook it wrong. In what way? I'm curious. Is this like the debate between how crispy the bacon is? And just watch. I'm gonna say that. I'm gonna summon crispy. See, there's the other foot. Bacon beer, I think my German stomach just turned itself inside out. Yeah, don't ask me how he did it. I didn't often go into the brewery part just because all those hops just stank. I worked the host stand when I was there. And the couple times I've had restaurant jobs, it's mostly been like back of the house. I worked as a busboy for a lot of it, and I didn't mind that position. You know, just speeding along, collecting dishes, wiping down tables. It's not much, but it's honest work. I like turkey bacon and haven't tried beef bacon before, but I'd like to. That being said, pork bacon is still my favorite type of bacon. Yeah, because that's like the most well-known type of bacon. Something people do is cook bacon in a pan with a splash of water. I think it helps cook more evenly or something like that. I think so, because there have been times where I've made breakfast sausage that's frozen, and I'll like sprinkle a little bit of water on it, because that does help even the cooking, as well as adding a little bit of defrost to it. Bus bear. Yes. Yeah, you can just imagine me prowling around between the tables, standing on my hind legs to wipe down the tables. Oh, here's a trick I learned that might help some of you people. Um, if you ever find a situation in which you have to clean crayon off of tile or a similar smooth surface, do not use water or cleaning spray. Just take a coarse paper towel, like the brown kind, and you scrub it there. Scrub it like that, because the texture is what's going to get the crayon wax off. Yeah, one of the restaurants I worked at had like tiled tabletops and gave crayons to the kids. So of course the kids are gonna make their mischief, as kids are wont to do. Quick question, is it better to cook bacon on a skillet or in the oven? Those are different styles, so that comes down to a matter of taste. Now I just have Well, fine then. Keep your secrets. In restaurant security, no one wants to mess with you. The hell was that? One of these days, I'm going to hear a thundering crash near my window because it is so cold and I got like 2 feet of snow. So, of course, as the sun hits everything, there's going to be the little drippies. So there are a lot of icicles. No joke, no exaggeration. There are some icicles hanging from my house that are like 3, 4, 5 feet long. And they are very wide as well to, stay attached to the roof, but normal little icicles, they bop you on, they fall, they hit you in the head, you go, ow. These icicles, they hit you in the head, you're not going to the hospital, you're going straight to the morgue. Watched a video going over the Wicker Man remake and some of the original. I've seen the original and loved it, and the remake is pretty, woof. Big woof right there. Yes. So I saw the remake first. It just happened to be out at the time. I went with friends, and it was meh. The hyper toxic femininity was off-putting. I much prefer the original one, where it just focused on paganism versus Christianity. I was trying to think of a more encompassing way, but no, it's pretty much Christianity. Love Christopher Lee in that. He is so good as Lord Summerisle. Why do you cook bacon and bake cookies? It's to cut down alliteration. So like, I'm going to cook the cookies. I'm going to bake the bacon. Although you could bake bacon if you really tried. Ugh. All right. Now, at some point when you get to the end, you have to decide when you just gotta stop. If this weren't critical for, keeping the foot intact, I'd probably just, I don't know, I'll show you that trick later if it comes down to it, but when you have it short enough, again, I'm sorry for how blurry it is. Okay, I took too long, now it's almost too short to tie off. That happens to me a lot, I just get in the zone of sewing and I've now made a knot. All right, so I'm going to do what I said I wasn't going to do. You just backtrack. Oh, now I can't because of this. Don't worry, I'll show you the trick for that in a second. Hi, Leonix. How you doing? Oven has a higher floor but lower ceiling. Fair. Was it the Polish or the Russian army that had a bear serving officially that got promoted up to sergeant? It was the Russian. I definitely know it was the Russian. I'm blanking on the name of the bear. I know the bear you're talking about. No relation. The remake of The Wicker Man is the definition of so bad it's good. I mean, it's got Nick Cage in it. Okay, so for this, I have the other end of the string, and I just pulled it. Let's see if I can just pulled it the length of my arms. Snip. I've got Wojciech. Yes, that is the name. I'm sure I mispronounced it, but yes, that's the bear's name. Okay. And there are needles made that make it so it's easier to thread them. It's designed for people with like bad eyesight. And you might need to turn it around if it's being too stubborn, because they make the eye by just punching through. And think about when you punch through any material, there's going to be an end where more material is sticking out, and that's going to get in the way. Also, licking the end can sometimes help. Come on, you're right there. Alright, so now maybe I do need to turn this around. Okay, come on. Alright. Sometimes you also just need to trim it a little more in case there's extra stuff getting in the way. It also doesn't help that I'm trying to do this with extra colors behind this. Come on. Alright, there you are. I see you. Probably should have a slightly larger needle just because of this thread. Alright, see? Now I got it through. Get the two ends of the thread. And tie them off. Shit. I'm starting to get a tangle there. Maybe I should keep the thread a little shorter. Okay, I can't keep these on anymore. They're very soft, but the lack of skin contact is making it very hard to control everything. That's better. Could be more on fire. Pretty much. Alright, there we go. Lesson learned, things won't go as planned, pretty much. Expect the unexpected. Wojtek is how it's pronounced, I believe. Yeah, it does kind of look like it would be pronounced Wojtek. Am I making another squid? No. You know, although I've never made a tiny squid. It'd be the tentacles that are the hardest part because I would have to turn them. And so it has to be of a certain width. Anything with Nick Cage is meme material. Yeah, I would see a movie of that bear. So long as it's not like an animated for kids movie. If it was an animated for adults movie, that'd be pretty cool. So yeah, way we want. So to make sure that that doesn't fail, I go back a little earlier. So if the original part comes undone, it still has this extra thread to keep it strong. No relation to the Russian military bear, a likely story. Also, of course, the fucking military bear was Russian. I heard they gave it cigarettes. And also, I don't have any Russian in me, biologically. I am pretty much Northern European mutt, predominantly Irish. But I'm done with the whole, it's like, oh, I'm of Irish ancestry. I'm essentially Irish. Like, no, I don't think I can even count as being part of the Irish diaspora. Because I wasn't raised with any of it. How did I miss that? Not the bees! Oh, they're in my eyes! There are bees in your eyes. There are so many more issues to worry about. Although I gotta say, Nick Cage and Mandy and Color Out of Space, oh, that was so good. I think we are failing a bit at distracting. If you don't look at that little thread hiccup, the work is going way too smoothly. Yeah, but also think of it this way. We are an hour in, and I haven't even finished 2 legs. So it seems we're only going to get this one bear done. If that. And that's another thing that happens is a lot of the times the loops will catch on your pins. And eventually I'll get a camera that will stay focused, because I'm sure with the blurriness it's giving some of you headaches. It would give me a headache. Then again, that's why I also have myself in the corner there. So you have something in focus to focus on and not damage your eyes. Is Nick Cage a bad actor who does good movies, or a good actor who does bad movies? Wiser people than me have been driven mad contemplating that question. He is a good actor that does bad movies. And here's my evidence why. He has a very unique acting method. It's not bad. It's just very unique. He does so many bad movies because he has a horrible spending problem. So he'll buy things, that only celebrities can afford, but it's more than he has. So he goes to, he does terrible movies because they pay. And it's easier to do frequent bad movies than the occasional good movie. I did enjoy Color Out of Space very much. And it's funny. The girl, the daughter, has a copy of the Necronomicon. I have that edition. Like, it was printed in the 70s. Very gimmicky, though. But it is legitimate. Actually. Hey, guess what? It's your distraction. I'll be right back. Don't worry about the bear spazzing. On this bookshelf. Yep. Confirmed. See? It's a real book. It's not, it's, got like the charms and the glyphs and all that. But think of it as like authorized fan fiction. Chad is warming up in the distraction game. I like Nick Cage in Long Legs as well. Yes, Long Legs kind of petered out in the third act, but I still liked it, and I liked him as Long Legs. You know, he was the perfect amount of creepy. Good night, K2. Hear her throwing glass. No, I have little Halloween jingly bells that are supposed to go on doorknobs, so I just have it on the doorknob to my office. That way no one can sneak up on me. Pretty sure my awful eyesight comes from the fact that when I watched TV as a kid, I'd stand like 2 centimeters away from it. So I've actually heard that, so I can't confirm exactly with the television, but the whole thing of like don't read at night, it's not the low light, it's your eyes constantly refocusing. Which can happen when it's dark. Like you go from the book to something else to the book. Constantly refocusing your eyes tires them out, and that's what gets them all worn and weary. But I will say, my hearing is damaged because I listen to music on my headphones way too loud, which I later realized is a form of self-abuse. And considering I played my music that loud to kind of escape, yeah. A real Necronomicon that's so cool and so scary at the same time. As long as you don't fuck with them, there's no harm in having a magic book. The harm comes from wielding it when you have no idea what the fuck you're doing. I did read the book Al-Hazred, which talks about the Mad Arab from the Lovecraft books. And one detail I do remember, let's see, is this hand gesture is supposed to help protect you from the old ones. It isn't, like, perfect, but, let's see, gotta focus. There we go. It is a deterrent. Now, not against, like, the big old ones, but, like, ghouls and their servants and shit like that. I should sew the bear some boots. I could. But one thing at a time. We gotta make it a body first. Actually, next thing we do is the legs. I usually do it legs because they take so long. Then the arms. Sometimes I do the ears, or I do them last. Actually, usually I do them last. And then the head, and then the body. I've been trying to get into tarot card readings and have a book to learn how alongside a deck. I got my very first tarot deck when I was like 13. I haven't read the cards in years though. And I've been playing around with the idea of designing my own deck. Either just doing it the traditional way with, you know, the major arcana, the minor arcana, or just making my own oracle deck. Oracle deck is kind of the catch-all term for a deck of cards, special cards specifically meant for fortune telling. Because there are arguments about whether or not tarot is part of an open or closed practice, especially dealing with the Romani people. That's an argument that's bigger than me, so I won't speak on it. That's a question for the fools and the philosophers. You're a late bloomer with goth and witchy stuff. Better late than never, darling. Like, for me, I'm lucky enough that I, when I was a kid, I lived in day trip distance from Salem, Massachusetts. So I went there a couple of times as a kid, and I got into Wicca. I'm no longer Wiccan. The faith no longer suited me. So yeah, I went there a number of times. I went there with my dad. He was really cool and helped me a lot. And of course, because of that, I learned a lot about the Salem witch trials. Even like, I had a social studies class where for one project you could do any topic you wanted, so long as it's like social studies related. And I did the witch trials, and I had my parents help me make a diorama, and it was really well done. It was a fun project. So I don't remember all the details, but I remember enough to be, fairly knowledgeable. Like, no one was burned at the stake in Salem. Because no one was actually found guilty of witchcraft, which is what would lead to a burning at the stake. Everyone there, except one, was hanged. The only death that wasn't by hanging was Giles Corey. His name I will forever remember. His wife was accused of witchcraft, and he was trying to be compelled into testifying against her, and he refused. So they tried to torture him to get him to do that, which is by pressing. So they laid him down on a plank of wood and put another board on top of him, and then just loaded heavy stones, one after another. And they would try to, it's like, what have you got to say? And the only words he would say is, more weight. Until after 3 days, it finally crushed him. That's badass and ballsy, defending your wife in that manner. Yeah. I did not make you look, because that's this. What I did, like, you have to also have that little twisty in the middle. That's how you do it. Except it makes my hand cramp a little. How did I get into sewing? I think what really sparked it was a sewing class in high school. Because I don't even remember what they called it, but it was essentially the replacement for home economics. And, you do simple stuff. You make an apron. And then there was one where we got to make teddy bears. And I loved the process so much. But it wasn't until I got into college that I really started getting into it. Thing is just because, I knew how to sew and I wanted something to do with my hands. And there were, bins of clothes that nobody wanted anymore on each floor. So sometimes I would rummage and just get something to use as materials, and I would use some as stuffing. So they weren't great quality, but it was still fun. I enjoyed it. Kind of like alternative stuff, but it's mostly the aesthetic. Recently I've been slowly listening to alternative music, since that's where it came from, the music, not the aesthetic. Which is fair. Music can really drive the aesthetic of a lot of subcultures. Did I get an A on that project? Hell yeah. I got an A++. I'm not even joking. My teacher literally put A++ on it. I don't know how much extra credit he decided to slap onto that, but It was well researched, it was well crafted. I took a branch from a bush in my yard and had my dad screw it into a board. So that was that that became the hanging tree. And I had a bunch of dolls, and at least one was actually hanging from the tree. Another was standing on a doll table, a pink dollhouse table, plastic, ready to be hanged. That one I remember was a specific person. If you ever seen the movie or the play The Crucible, which is about the Salem witch trials, it was the main guy. And I had a bunch of like crushed up wads of newspaper painted gray and had it like all together as a pit where they would toss the bodies. I had a jail cell where one of the accused remained because she was pregnant. And because of that, once the hysteria died down, she was able to leave and live through it. Was there another thing on it? I can't remember, but yeah, that was a very fun project to do and get through. Giles Corey, yep. Good night, Laughing Stock. Hope to see you next time. Nasty way to go. Night Stock. If no one was burned at the stake for being witches in Salem, why are they referred to as the Salem witch trials? Is it just one of those super common misconceptions? No, it was, in fact, witch trials. There were semantics in the laws between the times. I'm trying to remember. The burnings themselves were supposed to, like, save your soul. And the hanging, I think it was more of a legal thing. So think of it this way. The burnings was the religious aspect, the religious punishment, religious execution. And the hangings were more law-based or political-based. But anyway, anytime you hear about a witch trial, it's never actually about witches. It's hysteria. It's a way to get rid of rivals. Like, if you have a neighbor whose land you want, all you need to do is put in some rumors about witchcraft, whips up the community into a hysteria, and so they got to take them out. It's a very easy tactic to use on a superstitious group. That's pretty much how it goes. Good night, Ismail. Always fascinated when it comes to hanging doll trees. Reminds me of that one time where I used to watch Ghost Adventures and they went to the Island of Dolls. Yeah, I remember. I did not see it on Ghost Adventures, but I do remember hearing about the Island of Dolls, where there was supposedly like the ghost of a little girl, and a man on that island, very small island, to appease the spirit of the little girl, started hanging dolls for her from the trees. So little ghost girl had something to play with, which is kind of sweet. All right. So in case you were wondering why, like, I call this inside and outside, because it's going to look like this. And it can look really janky at this stage, but so long as you sew it properly, once you turn it inside out, all the jank is hidden inside. So you see, it's going to look like a little paw. And that's the outside of the arm. So it's like... Did I ever enjoy creepypasta stories? Yes. When creepypastas were really starting to come about and boom, I very much enjoyed them. Russian Sleep Experiment remains my favorite. I don't care for the ending very much, but I have an issue for any scary story that tries to explain more than it should. Because it's in the horror, it's in the mystery and the unknown that leads to the fear. So if you over explain, you remove the mystery and you remove the horror. And that's one reason why I like a lot of international horror, especially Asian horror, because a lot of the times in those folk tales and mythos, sometimes shit just happens. There's no divine punishment. There's no like divine meaning. It's just sometimes bad shit happens. Since I'm a younger adult, I've had the internet literally my whole life, as well as been a part of a lot of internet culture while young, including creepypastas, so I've loved them despite being scared. Yep. It's always fun to have that. Childhood fear in scary stories is a mixed bag, because on the one hand, you're getting nightmares from it, but on the other hand, it's kind of thrilling. Ted the Caver was an awesome one. Is that the one where the cave eats the guy? Or am I thinking of another thing? I don't know. There were so many creepypastas of varying quality. Creepypastas are commonly described as internet urban legends. Yes, that's why they were so effective when they started coming out. Because it was very hard to prove or disprove anything. And let's face it, when you're young and on the internet, you can be very gullible. I'm embarrassed to say this, but I fell for the bonsai kitten bullshit. I was young and stupid, okay? Ugh. Got scared with the Treasure Island one, and now I'm deathly scared of mascots. Treasure Island. The only one I hear that and my brain goes to two places. Either Abandoned by Disney, but I don't actually think that had like that, and the other was Candle Cove, but that was more puppets. Stairs in the Woods. I'm a SAR officer. I don't think I read those. I can't remember a lot of the ones that I read because it's been so long. Tiki Toby. Abandoned by Disney. Yep. Eyeless Jack. God, it's bringing back such good memories, which is almost weird to say of creepypastas. Abandoned by Disney. Okay, cool. See, because I couldn't remember exactly which rides were involved in that one. But yeah, as I said, like my favorite was Russian Sleep Experiment, and I even saw there was, it might even still be up, like a fan film of it. But I will say the Russian accents sound more German, so it was a little distracting. Still, very entertaining. You only know of Treasure Island as being adapted into a FNAF-style game. Yeah, mascot horror got very popular. And I don't hate mascot horror. Like anything, there are ones that are done well and ones that are done poorly. But part of me is very curious as to what the next horror boom will be. Eyeless Jack, Jeff the Killer, Slender Man. Um, All right, so what I remember of Slender Man, it was a what was it? Something Rotten that had a photo contest, and someone submitted two photos in which there was a tall looming figure in the background of like playgrounds and with kids. And that is what started Slender Man. And then the internet does what the internet does best, and it just grew organically, similar to how the backrooms were. Someone just made an observation of liminal spaces of this strange and almost eerie looking office building interior photo. Someone added text that described the back rooms, and then of course it grew from there. Don't care for much mascot horror? That's fair. Mascot horror mainly started with FNAF? Yes. If FNAF didn't start it, it definitely popularized it. And that's another thing that's kind of interesting, is the difference between starting a trend and popularizing it. Like, a lot of people will credit either Halloween or Texas Chainsaw Massacre for starting the slasher craze. No. The town that dreaded sundown is really the earliest example of slasher genre horror. But it was certainly Halloween and Texas Chainsaw Massacre that popularized it. I love two-sentence horror stories. There's a subreddit called that, and I follow it. And some are really good. Some are, kind of, you tried. And others are like, oh my god, what the fuck? Here, take my upvote and think about what you've done. Those are some of my favorites as well. It's just like, Jesus Christ, dude, that is so dark. Yeah, I like having lots of random knowledge in my head. I absorb information against my will. Tea. Horror animated stories. Oh. Uh-huh. I don't see much of those these days. But for a time when she was still active, Strawberry Nightmares would do really fun animated horrors. Oh yeah, the I Heard It Too. Unfortunately, that one got way overdone. The deep web, deep web, dark web. Yeah. Fave animated horror, anything is Courage the Cowardly Dog. fuck yes. So, one of my current things that I like to listen to as I fall asleep is a mix of either fan, white noise, or rain with thunder. And it also has a black screen with childhood cartoons. So like SpongeBob, Fairly Odd Parents, Courage the Cowardly Dog. And I kind of cycled through them, but I've got 2 different versions of Courage. And just so goddamn fun. Okay. So for this one, I'm going to show you guys how to turn. Now this is going to be very messy because I don't have any like actual tools. Yeah, when I turn, let's see how this one is. Probably this. In the past I've used like crochet needles, but just having something thin like a paintbrush will help. Sad Satan, oh god. I couldn't get into the supposed original video. Although it was funny, I had it open in a tab, and oh god, did I make this too short again? Ugh. I usually have like dozens of tabs open, and you know, sometimes one with YouTube will just start playing. So I'm just sitting on my computer, I got my headphones on, and suddenly I hear screaming. Scared the crap out of me. I had to find out what tab was playing. See? And now we have a little bear arm. See, this is the part that really gets tricky. Ugh. Thicker paintbrush. The Dark Somnium. Ooh, that does sound fun. Alright, so this paintbrush is definitely fucking with the focus. SCP! I recommend Evan Royalty. He does a bunch of short films. My favorite one is The Dollhouse. That one's really cool. Analog horror is also a great favorite of mine. Like, currently, let's see, the Mandela Catalog, Local 58, Vita Carnus. Love Vita Carnus. It's so weird. The only downside with SCP is that I can never keep them straight. I can never remember the numbers associated, but there's 2 that I really like. One, if you know, those of you that know SCPs will know what I'm saying, know who I'm describing when I say 4 goddamn pixels. And the other one, again, I forget the name, but it's like you cannot talk or you cannot communicate about the SCP with words. So, his whole entry is just pictographs, just pictures to show that you can't write about this SCP, this monster, or it will come and abduct you. And it, you know, again, shows in pictographs the things they've tested with it. So that one was just really cool. It was such a creative concept, because the whole basic thing of, oh, there's this monster and you can't know it or it'll come kill you, is pretty basic. It's the angle of you can't use writing to talk about it that brings a fresh angle, and I love that kind of shit. Yes, someone recognizes Vita Carnis. Yes. God, the that one entry to Vita Carnis with the Elder Mimic. Oh my God, I nearly pissed myself. That scared me so bad. Yes, Koichi. Yes, Candlejack. You can't go off without mentioning. I couldn't help myself. I couldn't help myself. 96. 96, is that the one I was talking about with the pictographs? Like I said, yes, the mimic. Like, yeah, the harvester and the host of influence are like demonstrably more powerful and all-encompassing than the mimic, but the mimic is so much scarier. And there's that one entry in the series with the family encountering the harvester. I can't watch that anymore. Once was enough. Kids screaming in pain and distress is my hard limit. No, I can't do that. But here's the thing. A lot of people can't stand certain horror that involves kids in distress. Like there was this horror movie on Netflix that supposedly was supposed to be so scary people were leaving halfway through, which is not a strong metric. I watched it and it was a decent horror movie, but I honestly think that people were turning it off because there were young kids in peril. Nothing happened to the kids, but it was still, kids in peril that freaks people out. Oh God, just seeing the elder mimic's face at the top of those stairs. Oh my God. And in the entry where you first learn about mimics, first off, the knocking sound always gets me. Because I know it's coming, but I always forget exactly where it is. So I hear it and I jump. Gets me every time. And I love it. I love to hate it. I love to hate it. And even the example part, I'm pretty sure that's just like a paper mache head and hand, but it works. It works. I love that. And just again, Vita Carnis is like one of those examples where it doesn't need to, be all polished for it to be good. I mean, having the explanations for everything be just in a sketchbook, not even converted to look like official government, what have you. That shows what dedication and passion can do. Because if that's like the only main jank going on, I can live with that. 96 is 4 pixels. Okay, yes, him. Oh, yes. I don't know, like, I don't know, maybe on the Discord or something have kind of a movie night deal where we just watch a bunch of internet horror stuff. Pheromone just reacted to the original compilation, like literal couple days ago. So like the full one where it had all of them together and actually talked about the monoliths. I can't remember how exactly I got into Vita Carnis. I think it might have been Film Theory. But still. What am I doing? There we go. Yeah. When day breaks genuinely scares me. Trying to remember which one that was. 2295, 590, 6330, 1049 all bear. I think I saw that there is like a literal database that just shows you the SCPs that are just bear. Does that include the teddy bear that like replicates things and made another teddy bear completely out of human ears or something? Excuse me, need another drink. The Plague Doctor SCP. He will heal you. Doesn't matter what the outcome is, you will be healed. You see, this is why, like, I can get into the story aspect of SCPs, but I can't remember the numbers because I don't have a head for numbers. I mean, hell, there is one Shakespeare sonnet that I love more than any other, and I can never remember the number. I just can't. I'm a humanities brain, not a STEM brain. I outsource those needs. Best one's 999. Which one is 999, Dr. Jekyll? Please share with the class. So many numbers. Writing autism, not a numbers. Yeah. There's a reason, like, when I write, it does tend to flow into purple prose just because I eat that shit up. Unfortunately, not a lot of people appreciate it. The tickle monster? Oh, I already hate it. Yeah, real quick with Purple Prose, I just finished editing and uploaded one that's coming out next week? Or the week after? No, I think it's the week after. In which it is a lady knight speaking to her princess. So it is a sapphic script. And it is just old school chivalric romance. And I just, yes. And I use, let's see. I use my low, sultry voice as I talk about how dedicated I am to you, my princess. I do have to be careful with that voice, though. I don't know how many parasocial relationships I might be influencing. Let's go, lesbians! The main downside to being a queer woman is, God, we are so pathetic. Just constantly like flirting with one another, but nobody will make the goddamn first move. And I'm guilty of it. I'm absolutely guilty of it. So it's frustrating because you're just constantly sabotaging yourself. That's why it's taken me so long to actually make a legitimate move with my crush, because we have been flirting hardcore for over a year now. To the point where everyone who knows me, including NP and his girlfriend, they just constantly they have done their best to try to get me laid with her. And of course, her polycule is also aware of the thirst, and so they're very supportive. Subtly wanting another script like that? I wouldn't say no. I wouldn't say no to another script like that. Although I've got to say, I'm trying to write a few more of my own. Especially because I left a suggestion for a script, and it petered out to the person I challenged it with, which is fair. But I really, it's based on a writing project. I no longer say I'm trying to write stories or books, because fuck knows where any of this goes anymore. That was supposed to be very spicy, kind of romantic-y. But I might just finish writing it instead of making it into a script and turn it into an audiobook type deal. Flirting hardcore, but like as a friend, right? Sure, I'll kiss you platonically. I actually would. But yes, it's also like, nah, I'm just flirting. We're being playful, unless... When day breaks. I think I've seen, I forget their username, but they talk about various SCPs, and they did like a little series on When Day Breaks. So that's like the only thing that's ringing in my head, the only bell. Site 13, jogged my memory. The thing about not making the first move, a lesbian VTuber I watched recently made a community post about that, and I'm like, that doesn't only apply to lesbians. No, but it's pretty common. It's right up there with the joke of, what does a lesbian bring to the second date? A U-Haul. When the Foundation actively tried the SCPs, it went horribly wrong. They're in a couple of the little films made by Evan Royalty. It involved I forget the name of the organization, but instead of containing like SCP does, this organization tries to destroy, and ended up just chucking them to a different dimension, and it went wrong. Alternate universe? Yeah, something like that. Me, a lesbian who answered the joke before you did. So you are aware. Alright. Threading second needle. Get in. Alright, it's a little easier this time because I can actually have something behind it instead of trying to show how to thread a needle. Global Coalition? That sounds about right. I get around to writing, it's mostly just for fun. Speaking of which, the translation is coming along nicely. Hooray! Global Occult Coalition. Yeah, again, it's not something I'm deeply into, so there's a lot that I don't know of, but I still very much appreciate SCPs. It's an amazing writing project, and I love that kind of thing. But, so the script / story that I'm going to try to write myself, the basic premise is... So the rundown is, woman gets kidnapped and is put into an auction house for vampires and the like. But there's an extra detail. Either she gets kidnapped after being attacked by a werewolf, or she's just she is given the curse of the werewolf at the auction house. It's gonna vary. One of those things is gonna happen. And that is done on purpose, because then she gets sold as, like, bodyguard, lapdog, whatever, to a pretty sadistic vampire master. So she has to learn to serve him willingly, because, like, vampire bond and all that bullshit makes it so she is compelled to do as he says. And the way I try to describe it works like executive dysfunction, in which you want to move, but you can't. So if she wants to do something, but he has commanded her to do something else, she can't do what she wants to do. She is compelled to do as he says. What the? How do you have that much reach under the door, cat? Coming back in? It's the return of Savini. I don't know if he'll come back up. Hello, Max Retainers! I did not actually get far because I forgot just how long it takes to make these things. So far I have made 2 legs and 1 arm. Sewing second arm now. I don't know, maybe, like, actually the body is really gonna take a long time. I don't know if we'll be able to finish this tonight, but I don't know, maybe I'll finish it on my own time and then put up a post later. Oh no, Savini's back. He did show up on camera for like a second earlier, but there's enough space under my door that he can just reach in and start pawing around stuff. Which gets distracting, but what can you do? It's a cat. And that's also why I have that blooper up in my shorts, because someone requested that I post more bloopers. And I don't have a lot of bloopers, mostly outtakes. I have not seriously considered putting together a video of my bloopers that just involve me belching. But it might be really gross. Unless I could figure out a way to get it tuned to music. Then that would just be gross, but humorous. The Sonic creepypasta, Sonic.exe. Yeah, I remember the EXE craze. Oh, Ben Drowns is another creepypasta that I enjoyed. Executive dysfunction is something that anyone can experience, but especially the neurodivergent. For me, it's when I'm just overwhelmed or exhausted and I'm like, I have to move. I have to do the thing. I I have to get up and do the thing. It's like you're sitting in your car, you're turning the key, the engine's running, you're in drive, but no matter how much you hit that pedal, you ain't moving. That's the best way I can describe executive dysfunction. It's like, you know you need to do the thing, but you just can't compel yourself to move. And usually it takes an outside force, like, if I'm not hungry, actually no, if I have a thing like I need to eat, I need to go eat, but I don't have a real compulsion, but someone says, hey, I'm hungry, I am up and I am cooking. It's weird. Childhood is past. Ooh, that sounds good. An extreme noise terror and choking victim patch on my vest. Using dental floss, though, because it's cheap. I love a good battle vest. Battle jacket, sorry. One of these days I'm going to put together my own. But really, right now I just have a really fun hat covered in pins. In fact, I actually have a pin on my desk that I need to put on my hat because someone gave it to me. Yeah, nope, not that one. There it is. Respect existence or expect resistance. Hello, Savini. He's just chilling out on another table in here. Ben Drowned is really nostalgic, pretty much. The rake. Oh my god, yes, the rake. Fucking terrifying. The same pincushion? Yeah, it's pretty standard. You know, you just have this little tomato full of cotton and a chili pepper filled with sawdust. Love the Bear VTuber model. Thank you. For those of you who missed it, I finally have an artist that's putting together a new VTuber model. Yeah, it's gonna be more humanoid. I might get an updated bear at some point in the future. This stuffing really just doesn't want to go in. Partly because this VTuber model was a ready-made. You know, I bought it off of Etsy. You could literally buy this exact model off of Etsy. And as my popularity is growing, it still feels wrong and a little weird to say, I felt I should have something a little more personalized. I don't know, maybe I will get more of a bear like this again in the future. Not really furry, though. Like, I have respect for the furry community. Like, I would almost consider myself furry light. But I guess kind of having an anthro bear works. I did kind of rework my lore because I had a different idea, and this bear was supposed to be a placeholder, but y'all just glommed right onto it, so I had to do a little reworking. This paw is being very stubborn. That's another downside to making things on a smaller scale, is just the material will have a limit to its give. Then you just gotta massage it so it's not all lumpy. Just a scaly? Respect. But yeah, I did kind of dabble a little more in the furry fandom years ago, and Yeah, it was also a bear, although I couldn't quite decide on what kind of bear. I did fall on grizzly eventually. Just yes. That's the only reasoning I have. Yes, even though I do live in black bear country. Don't wear anything but do marry Argonians in Skyrim all the time. Very cool. The club where I go to will occasionally have people in, I guess, technically partial fursuits. And, they're on the dance floor. Um, I see the ones I see the most are lions. I think I've seen foxes a few times. And there's this one regular. She doesn't always come in a fursuit, but she does make her own fursuits. Occasionally she'll come with one that is Chili from Bluey, and I just I just love that. It's so creative. Alright. And sometimes you just have a little too much stuffing. Oh, and by the way, you'd be amazed the containers that they sell stuffing in. Like, I have an enormous box. It's like, let's see, 24 inches by 18 inches by 18 inches. And that's just 10 pounds of stuffing. And it will last a while. I am always super impressed by the quality of even the homemade suits. Pride events over here are always full of them, and they are very nice people. Yeah! It's kind of sad that for the longest time, the internet treated the furry community as like the bottom of the nerd and geek hierarchy. It just didn't make any sense. It's like, yeah, we all love weird things. It's just the different degrees. Like, there's actually a song by Professor Elemental. Uh, he's a chap hop artist. Very fun. The song is called Enter the Convention. Talking about, like, comic conventions and things like that. It has a line that goes, I don't know why they all have a go with furries. If you want to dress up as a giant rabbit and have relations with a man squirrel, that's none of my business. I've seen Stranger Things. I've done Stranger Things. And of course, this was before the show Stranger Things was really a thing, so the lyric didn't come off as weird as I just made it sound. I think the closest I ever came to being a furry was being a brony light, as I call it. Fair. I very much enjoyed My Little Pony Friendship is Magic when it first came out. It delighted my inner 5-year-old because I denied myself a lot of girly and feminine things when I was a kid, because the social message I got was that being girly was bad. Because all the kids media I watched, there was 2 kinds of girls. You had the girly girl, who was very annoying and looked down upon by the boys, and the other was the cool girl, who was like one of the boys. And so I tried to be the latter. And yeah, the 90s and the aughts were a wild time to grow up as a girl. Just good God, looking back at all that sexism. Just aggressively. Reason I say Brony Light was because I only really listened to some of the music made by the really talented people in the community, but never really watched MLP. That's fair. The music scene was amazing. You know, just so creative. One of the ones I followed that I'm so proud to see how far he's come, The Living Tombstone. I believe his first or one of his early bangers was Discord. Discord, I'm howling at the moon and sleeping in the middle of a summer afternoon. Discord, whatever did we do to make your day? Let's see. To make you take our thing away. Something like that. Yes, Living Tombstone. And just where they're now, just, love it. Said that I have a lot of Pathfinder books, Teddy. Have you ever played Pony Finder? I've not played Pony Finder. Still need to watch MLP. I loved that they got... Oh, god damn it. The name escapes me. The guy who played Q in Star Trek The Next Generation. Because they based the character of Discord on Q. So the thought was just to get a sound-alike. But no, they got the actual actor to come in and play Discord. So that's just really fucking cool. I also love when actors come in and do things like that. Take what could be seen as a lesser role because it just has substantial meaning to either themselves or the people who are requesting them. Rainbow Factory, that was good. The two creepypastas and scary stories that came out of the My Little Pony fandom, Cupcakes and the Rainbow Factory. Yes. Quick note, as I now get to the head, this part's a little tricky because you have 3 pieces coming together. So this part is going to be part of the nose. But what I first have to do is sew the front part. That's going to be the nose to the neck. But it's going to be kind of meeting in 3 places. So what I have to do is sew from here down. Let's see. Pain is ramping up. Need to get some dinner to have before it's too late. Have a good night. Good luck with the sewing. Yes, definitely go take care of yourself, Carmen. I completely understand. Everyone, my little honey drops, you never have to make excuses if you need to leave for any reason. Anything at all. I will not take it personally. Especially if it has to do with pain. Because you shouldn't have to suffer more than you do if you can't keep yourself from suffering at all. In the Rainbow Factory. I actually can't remember the melody for Rainbow Factory, but seeing those lyrics, like, oh, the nostalgia for that time. Yeah, you could say I was a Pegasister. It was my boyfriend at the time that actually got me into it. Because, you know, I'd been hearing the talk about My Little Pony. And I was just kind of, okay. But, and he and I were long distance at the time, and he was telling me, like, you gotta watch this. It's so great. And I was like, fine. And as soon as it got to the theme song, I was like, My inner child is having delight. And again, we were long distance at the time, so he's messaging me as I'm watching the episode. And at one point he asks me, have you met Gummy yet? Gummy? A few minutes later, we get to the scene like, oh my god, Gummy! Just a little baby alligator with no teeth. Just, Gummy was so cute. Oh god, Michael Starr, you are just... Again, I can't remember the melody, but those lyrics are just burning through in my head. Alrighty. I remember I told my girlfriend I finally got around to watching MLP, and I told her, consider me an official brony. And she said, finally, lol. Hey, I got nothing against you sharing the lyrics, Michael Starr. But speaking of funny interactions with partners, NP was playing Hightail the other day, and he killed a camel and it dropped beef. And he's just talking out loud going, why did the camel drop beef? To which I respond, because if it dropped chicken, it'd be weird. And he's just like, what would I do without you? I shudder at the thought. Nightmare Night was a banger. There's this one song that, for the life of me, I've not been able to find again, and it makes me sad. It was someone who went by the DJ name of Pone3, Pony, but so many people use that alias that it's impossible to find it. And it was just Frenchcore, which was like almost a kind of dubstep, because dubstep was very big when that was coming out. And I still like dubstep. I don't care what anyone says. It all bangers. And I think the song was really long. It was like 17 minutes, I want to say. And I've never been able to find it again. So sad. Yes. To the point where even I had to laugh in Deadpool 2 when they brought in a dubstep track. And Deadpool's like, what? It's good. And everyone else is like, really? Really, Wade? It's got a solid beat. I like songs with a solid beat. I'm kind of indifferent towards Skrillex. I know, I kind of feel he's a little overrated. But I don't hate the guy. He still makes good music. Keep forgetting I need to hold this out a little more so you guys can see it. The camera is not set to my chest. And no, you guys would not get a great view if the camera was pointed at my chest. Yeah, I'm not saying Skrillex is bad or makes bad music. I just feel he's overrated. Huge Big Beat fan. Yeah. I think that's partly why I like industrial so much. And of course, I say that, and the first song that pops into my head is Lobotomy by Combi Christ. Pour me another whiskey. I'm not gonna start a fight. I'm sure it'll hurt tomorrow, just don't want to hurt tonight. Pour me another tall boy. I'm not gonna start a fight. I'm sure it'll hurt tomorrow, just no, don't want to hurt tonight. Although that isn't a lot, since I've always had problems stepping out of my comfort zone and trying new things, unfortunately. Yeah. Sometimes you gotta do baby steps, though. There is that old saying of, do one thing every day that scares you. But there's also something to be said about, let's face it, it's mostly the neurotypicals and some of the extroverts. God damn, that's so blurry. Who don't understand what the comfort zone actually is. Like, if you want to think about it, there's your little safe zone, and there's the zone afterwards where you want to venture into to kind of explore. And then there's the ring around that, which is pain, fear, suffering. And the extroverts seem to think that that's the point that you should be going to. And it's just, no, let me just deal. Kill, switch, engage. Nice. Vivisect V by Skinny Puppy. Very nice. Metalcore. I'm not sure if I've listened to metalcore. Sometimes it's really hard for me to identify genres. I just know I like what I like. I have very eclectic tastes. Gloss, a trans femme hardcore band. Very nice. One local band that I have enjoyed because they play at the club routinely, I should say. They even shot a music video at the club that got them banned from YouTube called oh my fucking god, Marianne Toilet and the Runs. And it's clown aesthetic, but the lead is trans femme. Marianne Toilet and the Runs. And the song that they shot a music video for that got them banned from YouTube is Peter Got Pegged. They are on Spotify, I will say that. Just look up Peter Got Pegged. Another one of their songs I really like is Consent. That's a good track. I think once I get the head done is where I'm going to call it for the night. Which sucks because I just have the body and the ears left and stuffing everything. And because of nothing else, my back is starting to hurt. Now, usually for this, I would just be leaning back in my chair. But no, I gotta be hunched over under the camera. Not what I was expecting to hear. What, Peter got pegged? I have to say, I only have one partner that I peg, or that has asked me to peg them. I've gotten pretty good at it. Not one to brag, but... Sewing Stream Part 2? Yeah, sure, why not? Maybe I can, maybe finishing this bear and then having another thing to do. I don't know. Pegging is very fun. Aw, are we scaring you, Michael Starr? Do you not want to learn about the pegging? Do you fear you may enjoy it? Do I have any plans for future games to play? Well, someone requested that I do Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion, which honestly I might actually be able to play if I have people watching and cheering me on, because I'm gonna get worked up. I'm gonna get worked up, and I'm probably gonna scream a lot. Because I had something like that when I played mouth washing. I don't scream very often, but that goddamn, that first scare right at the beginning, right in the opening of the game, I was like, ah, Jesus! So yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I love watching horror game let's players and streams. It's entertaining to see people get jump scared or just freaked out in general, because it's that nice rush of it. It's the safe rush of adrenaline. Yes, yes, that was me. Yes. Sorry, I can't always keep track of who says what. So, yeah. Just know that I'm not like ignoring or snubbing or whatever. I just can't. There's like a dozen of you in here, and about a dozen of you who regularly chat with me. So I'm slowly learning and remembering. But yeah, why not? I think if I get a little bigger, and I'm not counting subscribers, I'm talking about like how many people show up to my streams, I might do like a Patreon poll request thing. I have been considering doing that for a while anyway, mostly because I intend to do some spicy audios. And one, I need a place to host it, and two, it'd be nice to get paid. It'd be nice to have some things that have a paywall. I may have been taking advice from Vexoria the Sun Eater. Do I like the Librarian? He's a great horror game YouTuber. Oh, I've not heard of him. I will give him a look. I saw Iron Lung last night. I saw it last night. If you have seen his other videos, like Date with Markiplier, Heist with Markiplier, In Space with Markiplier, it's very much like those. You still get that feeling. You still get that YouTuber with a very large budget video feel. I felt a little conflicted with my feelings towards it. I didn't hate it, but I didn't love it as much as I wanted to. I actually took a screenshot. Who is it? It was Ryan Hollinger, who talks about horror media. I love watching his stuff. His little his comment about it goes, while it's narratively obtuse and bites off way more than it can chew, Markiplier's Iron Lung is a surprisingly enthralling cosmic horror that elevates David Szymanski's game with a few rustic psychological twists and human moments that suggest a promising filmmaking future. Markiplier also demonstrates a genuine filmic eye, resting many worries that this would be too much of a fan film. Lots of keen influence from Lovecraft's The Color Out of Space, Ridley Scott's Alien, Duncan Jones's Moon, Robert Eggers' The Lighthouse, and most strikingly, Andrei Tarkovsky's Solaris, which I think pretty much hits the nail on the head. It is a passion project, and I have so much respect and appreciation for passion projects. I love watching passion projects because even if it's got a lot of scuff, the I keep saying the passion behind it, the love put into it can usually elevate it. But also, I was extremely tired, and I saw the 10 o'clock showing. Um, I also had like a very nice massage earlier that day, so I was very relaxed. So by the end, I was tired and I was ready to go. Um, Structurally speaking, I'm not going to give any spoilers. Structurally speaking, it is very slow paced. Not even slow burnt, slow paced. Um, his character and another character called Ava are just always playing angry and, on their last nerve and but it's constantly on that mode. And it never felt like there was an actual ramp up. It just kind of set the energy and plateaued on that with some changes, some fluctuations. It's not going to be for everyone, but I'm happy I saw it. I did enjoy it. And I stuffed my face with popcorn. What do I gotta do to get you to play the Sonic games? Ugh. Which ones? Like the classic ones or some of the .exe? I wish I could afford to join a Patreon, but I am what is known as broke amongst most people. That's fair. That's why I'm trying not to abuse the idea of having a Patreon. I still want everyone to continue to get what I'm putting out on YouTube. But I do want to do some extra stuff, and of course that's going to be the more paywall stuff. And of course there is an idea of putting for when I do the spicier stuff to have the first chunk on Pornhub. And it's like, to hear the rest of it, go to Patreon, because yeah. I know it works. Recently watched Critical, aka Charlie, talking about it on his channel, and he said it was pretty good and was also accurate to the game. Yes, it was very accurate. It added. It didn't subtract anything from the game. I do feel some elements could have been cut. It could have been 30 minutes shorter. I think 2 hours is too long for that movie. It could have been trimmed. But any complaints I have are nitpicks. Ugh, since I'm done sewing, I'm gonna move screens. Oh, that's better. Now I can actually lean back in my chair. Angry and frustrated characters put me on edge, and I usually don't enjoy it because of it. That's fair. Although I gotta say, you can't blame his character. I understand the motivation that puts them in that emotional state. I do get it. But as a viewer, you want a little change up. Like, I've watched other things where the characters are in one location the entire time and are able to go through different emotions, different rages. Oh my goodness, sorry. People else, yeah. Like, definitely chase the bag, but fuck, I'm broke. Oh, yeah, I feel that. Dumpster diving is fun only when you aren't doing it survival, because then the thrill of the hunt is gone. Yeah. I assume they're in the sub or something like it. The high stress makes sense. Gotta make sure you're straight before you help anyone else. Yeah. It's like they say, you can't serve from an empty bowl. So focus on yourselves. You know, I'm doing fine financially. I will survive. But it's also nice to be compensated for your work. Now, you guys do not have to do, you don't need to send money my way. If you are financially comfortable and you want to throw me a tip on coffee or something, that's appreciated but unnecessary. I was gonna say something else. What else was I gonna? I lost my thought. It escaped me. Is there a link for the Discord? Yes. Go to my channel, front page. It's there with the rest of my links, along with my Blue Sky, where, you know, I post some other things. I post more pictures of George and Savini, the cats, on there. Speaking of which, okay. Before I log off in a few more minutes, I'm going to move the hand cam and point it at Savini, who is currently napping. So you guys will have one last good shot of the cat, and I won't dox myself. Oh, but yeah, Koichi, they Markiplier is in the sub, the Iron Lung itself. So that's his driving force of anger. But you can't forget that the other detail of the game is the quiet rapture, in which the stars have gone out and the planets have vanished, and all that exists are some moons and the last light of the dead stars. In humanity, the only ones that are still alive are the ones that were on space stations. So that's the panic from the other characters, is trying to find something in order to survive. I, for a change, like angry or frustrated characters. They make me feel catharsis. Very true, very true. It's just you want a little more. It just, having the same emotion for 2 hours is its own thing. Also, hi, first time chatting you stream. Very nice to meet you, Facepalm Quirty. Very, very happy you could join us. I am kind of winding down, but better late than never, right? Plus, there's always the VOD. Live a nice crusty life, garbage food and 5-finger discounts all the way. I got a nice home though, and I'm safe. That's good. I have a good number of friends who pretty much have a similar situation. So I do respect your situation, and I hope the best for you. Yes. How am I? I'm doing very well. Is it cold? Fuck yes, it's cold. Okay, so in Fahrenheit, the warmest it got today was 20 degrees. When I got up in the morning, it was 3 degrees. For those of you that don't speak freedom units and know Celsius, it was -6 as the warmest temperature today. And when I woke up, -17. You see, because I know there are people who know various measurements, and I want them all to know just how much I'm freezing my tits off. You were on Iron Lung yesterday. Loved the setting, liked the movie, even though it wasn't perfect. Yes. It has flaws, but it's not terrible. I enjoyed it. I don't feel compelled to see it again, but I'm happy I saw it. It's been a while since I saw Markiplier's Iron Lung Let's Play, but I don't remember him being that passionate about it. I actually rewatched it yesterday, his original playthrough. he was definitely interested. I think it may have partly been driven by his love of outer space. I mean, he definitely let it show with In Space with Markiplier. This Iron Lung felt like In Space with Markiplier with an even bigger budget. I mean, he was working on that movie for 2-3 years. What the fuck is a kilometer? American national anthem intensifies. Kilometer is the weight of the length. That's a good one. That's a good one. But yeah, I also mentioned earlier that we have very big icicles forming. Like every house in my town has huge icicles right now. I'm talking 3, 4, 5 feet long. And they have a very thick base, so that's why they can get that long. Regular icicles, they fall, they bonk you in the head. Maybe you get a small laceration. One of these hits you, you're not going to the hospital, you're going to the morgue. And yes, I did repeat myself, but I do feel that that's a good phrase to be passing along. Yes, definitely also watch the part 2 with the lore, because that lore and the lore mechanic are in the movie. If you've seen the game, you pretty much know what you're going into, but it's the characterization and the humanization that are the new elements. It was a good line. Thank you. Thank you. Yeah, there's this one icicle in front of one window on the south side of my house, which is, where the sun leans. And that is a monstrosity. I swear to God, it's like 6 feet long, 8 inches across at the widest point. It's just, good God. Okay, I think that's good for now. So, thank you everyone for joining me this week. I know it was a rough week for a lot of us, very cold for a lot of us as well. So I hope you all have a much better week ahead. I hope you stay warm and cozy. So yeah, we'll definitely do a part 2 next week of the sewing. How about this? We will finish this bear next week, and if there's time, maybe if finishing the bear takes an hour or less, I will play Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. If not, then I'll play it a different time. I will play Spooky's Jump Scare Mansion. Alright. Character quote dubs. I'm working on it. Alright. So, before I shut down, let me just move my camera. Oh. No, gotta move that. That's a doxable thing. Alright, let's see how... Oh, god damn it. Ignore the face. Behold the Savini. Yeah, my camera's over here, so... Say hello, cat. Yeah, you a precious boy. You a good boy. You a good boy. You're a good boy who harasses the brother George. Yeah, he's sleepy. Oh my god, yes, he is much floof. He is very bottle brush. And there's your kitty yawn! Let me Move that. Okay, because yeah, I did have to move some things. Okay. Let's see what you say. You like to be in Discord VC, but don't know if you'd be good. Don't have a good microphone. That's fair. I don't know if or when I'll do a Discord VC, voice channel or whatever, but you never know. Things will come. But yeah, you guys are welcome to come into my Discord. It's very chill. Everyone's very kind because I'm not putting up with any bullshit or asshole nature. No. The world has that enough as it is. I need a peaceful corner. You need a peaceful corner. Stream very fun. Much wow. Show us your kitties. You'll see many more kitties in the future. Again, on my Blue Sky, you can see many more kitties. Just go to my channel page where it has all the info. Click it, and you'll see the Discord. Actually, fuck it. I'm just going to do it for you. That's not the thing I want. The fuck? There you go. There you go. While playing spookies or just horror games, John? We'll see. We'll see. TBD. I'm too tired to think, but I will consider it. I will consider it. All right. Have a good night, everybody, or good morning. Have a good time zone. What if you want to be bitten? If you want to be bitten, you gotta ask nicely. That's what it takes. No silently judging. This is a kink-friendly space. I love cats so much. Yeah. And my little floofy boy definitely will love you. Okay. Good night. And stick around so you can hear my really cool new theme music made by DJ Zydrate. Link to follow. Good night. See you next time. Love you all, my sweet honey drops. Mwah.